Hello there, good morning. It's Wednesday, it's 8 a.m., and this is your live Q&A session with me, Carolina. I'm your alcohol-free life coach and helping you discover your greatest dreams and passions outside of a fermented beverage that only makes you feel lousy the next day. So this is a live Q&A session for students in Become Euphoric and Become Emboldened to answer their top questions, and I hope that some of these insights will help you along with your journey as you reevaluate the role of alcohol of your life, take a break, or navigate your new identity alcohol-free in this world. I'm so passionate about this topic because, to be honest, I don't care what's in your glass at the end of the day. I really don't. This is not about a beverage. This is about you being awake and alive to your life. See, most adults sleepwalk through life. We have around 60,000 thoughts every single day, and around 90% of them are repeat thoughts, and around 85% of them are negative. We are stuck on autopilot, living the same conditioned responses and thoughts and beliefs. And it's very rare that we wake up to our lives. Sometimes this happens in a bad way. Sometimes this happens with a midlife crisis. Sometimes this happens with a bad diagnosis or an accident or losing your job. And sometimes it happens because you evolve in your own introspection and you start asking yourself questions. Am I really doing what fulfills me in my life? Is this habit serving me? Does drinking every weekend make me ultimately happy? And in the process of transforming your relationship with alcohol, you get to transform everything else. You get to truly step into a role of connecting with your deepest intuition, your deepest inner guide, and asking yourself, is this life that I have serving me, or could I design one that I love so much more? Could I be the driver of finding more fulfillment and meaning outside of my life instead of looking for things like easy gratification in a glass? Could I really take my dreams and go after them instead of feeling fears and doubts and staying stuck in a habit, in a drinking habit that only makes me feel low, only lowers my self-esteem, and only makes me feel 10 steps behind my health goals and my life goals? This is why I do what I do, because I get to witness the most incredible transformations in you. It's not about what you're drinking. It's about being alive and awake to your life and your deepest, deepest, deepest dreams and your biggest values. And so thank you so much for joining me today, because I'm going to tackle one of the most worst thoughts you could possibly have when you're trying to change your relationship with alcohol. And it's a thought that comes up for many of us. It's a thought that we might struggle with for years as we are struggling with our relationships with alcohol. And that horrible thought is, why can't I be normal, right? Why can't I be normal? Why can't I drink normally? Why can't I drink like everyone else? Why can't I make this work in my life the way other people do? Why is this an issue for me and not for anyone else? Why, right? This horrible thought that we do that's super normal. And before I really buckled down and started to learn more about the role of alcohol and how habit formation works in our brain and the neuroscience of it all, I had this thought all the time, because I struggled for years trying to contain my drinking habit. I drank way too much when I was in college and in grad school. And in a sense, there was some kind of freedom about it because I wasn't trying to limit it. I didn't care. I just drank a lot, right? And as I got older, I tried to put more and more limits around it. I drank less and less year after year because I kept trying to get it to a smaller amount, to a smaller container, and put so many rules around it. What this also did is it gave me a lot of mental anguish, because guess how often I would break my rules? A lot. I would break my rules, I would lower my self-esteem, I would feel like crap. And every time I struggled with this, it just seemed like nobody else was. Everybody was just drinking normally. Why did I drink too much? Why did I say I was only going to have one drink, but then I had 3 or 4 or 5? Why can't I be normal? And you'll hear this thought in the sober circles a lot, because a lot of people think that there's this paradigm of alcoholics and then normies, which is such a dangerous paradigm because it doesn't really exist. So first of all, let's first tackle this idea that there's normal drinkers out there and then alcoholics, and those are the only two binary options you could possibly have. In reality, our drinking habits are on a huge spectrum. Our drinking habits go from 1 to 10, A to Z, lightest white to darkest black. There's so much room and variation on that spectrum, and your drinking habit is very unique to you. There is no such thing as only two drinking styles, normal and inconsequential and abnormal and consequential. It doesn't exist. So when we just look at studies about Americans' drinking habits, for example, because I have that data, we actually find that out of routine regular drinkers, 60% of those drinkers misuse alcohol. 60%. So doing the math there, that's the majority of drinkers. The majority of drinkers are misusing alcohol on a regular basis, and those are the ones that are actually admitting to it on a survey, right? So what if that number is even higher than 60% because a ton of people didn't want to be honest on a survey to the government? So, like, that's baffling, right? If the majority of drinkers misuse alcohol and have a complicated relationship with alcohol, where does this idea of an alcoholic versus a normie even come from? Most people are not normies. There's no such thing. There's very, very, very rare occasional light drinkers that definitely have a much healthier relationship with alcohol. But the proportion of those people compared to people who have a routine, regular drinking habit and do drink above the health guidelines is insane. I mean, so the health guidelines are very strict. It's about 1 drink per occasion. In the US, I think men can get away with 2, but in other more progressive countries like the UK, men are only limited to 1 as well, because we're just learning more and more and more about the health effects of alcohol. So let's just say 1 drink per occasion, right? That's the health guideline. How many people do you think go over that health guideline all the time? I mean, when your friends go out for a drink, do they all stop at 1 drink? When you go to a party, does everyone have 1 glass of wine at dinner and then no more wine is poured? No, right? None of this has happened. The wine keeps pouring. We keep going to wine tastings. We go to brewery tastings. There's beer after beer at a barbecue. Nobody sticks to the health guidelines. Nobody. Very rarely do people do, and those people are in the minority. So to even think that there's some kind of normal drinking and abnormal drinking is one, like, not observed in reality. There are different shades of the spectrum, and people find themselves on different places. And so many of the people I work with are in that gray area. You know, you're not waking up at 6 a.m. drinking vodka for breakfast. You're drinking probably what looks like normally, because normally is drinking with your friends, drinking socially, and drinking at home. I mean, that's pretty normal in America these days, right? And so this idea that there's normal and not normal is very, very, very damaging, because then, like, nobody wants to have to join the other camp to make changes in their lives because there's so much stigma and shame to it, right? And, you know, there's another study that shows that upwards of 55% of Americans want to drink less. And when you hear something like that, it's not because 55% Americans are like saints and they just, you know, want to be more pure. No, they want to drink less because they don't like the way alcohol's showing up in their lives. So this is actually one of the most common phenomenons that happens in the world. And the reason for that is because alcohol has very scientific properties, and the way it affects human bodies and human psyches is really, really similar. Most people experience negative consequences from alcohol in their lives. Not everyone's aware of it. Not everyone even reflects on it. Some people just brush it off. Maybe you brushed it off for a few years and that stopped working. A lot of people throw it under the rug. You know, a lot of people can wake up after drinking too much at a wedding and just, oh, ha ha ha, whatever, that was fun, guys, right? So you're not at a place that you're necessarily different from other people. What you're in a place in that you're listening to your intuition more. You're listening to your inner guide and can actually hear this level of awareness bubbling up within you to know that there's something more for you than this mediocrity that you're finding yourself in, that the world finds itself in, right? Because this is a habit everybody has. Most people drink. 87% of the Western population drinks. And so when you find yourself starting to listen to that inner guide that my life could be better without alcohol, or maybe I'd be happier without this habit, or what if I just didn't drink for a while? Like what would happen for my health goals, and how would I feel about myself? That is one of the most wisest, intuitive messages you'll ever get. And that makes you not normal. That makes you not average, because you're starting to put your faith and beliefs above fear. You're starting to venture outside of your comfort zone when everyone else gravitates to what's easy and gratifying in the moment. You're starting to put your long-term contentment over a buzz. And when you start to do that, you're right, you're not normal. You're not normal anymore. You start to become exceptional, extraordinary. You start to put your dreams over your fears. You start to put your well-being over fitting in. You start to put yourself and your self-love and your personal growth over staying stuck and doing the same thing over and over and over again. And for that, you are not normal anymore. So sorry, you're not normal. You're exceptional. You're extraordinary. And you are listening to a voice of wild wisdom to follow your heart into what will bring you the most fulfillment and meaning in your life. Because guess what? Drinking on the couch, having wine is not it. You have the next great American novel in you. You have wisdom within you that can help other people. You have a book inside of you. You have a business inside of you. You have like crazy, maybe health and fitness goals inside of you. You have a desire and dream to travel the world. You have a desire and dream to change the world. All of these things you were meant to do and not play stuck and small because of a beverage. And so when you come up with this juxtaposition of these thoughts like, oh, I'm not normal, why can't I just drink like everyone else? One, nobody is drinking healthily to begin with. So just cut that thought off right there. And like, observe it happening. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. There's probably gonna be maybe, it's totally different this year. Maybe you'll have a very small Thanksgiving, but I'm sure there'll be some drinking around you. Observe it. Observe people going for more than just one glass of wine. Observe people needing alcohol to feel like they can be social or whatever. Observe it happening around you and know that it is actually everybody has some kind of emotional dependence on alcohol if they drink. Otherwise, they wouldn't drink to begin with, right? So stop with this, I'm not normal, everyone else is normal. No. Everybody has a very similar dependence on alcohol in one respect, and then there's varying degrees of that in another. And then two, when you have this idea that like, I'm not normal, like I work with women who drink one glass of wine a night. So they're doing like supposedly the healthiest thing, right? The health guidelines, they're normally drinking and they're still unhappy with the way that alcohol shows up in their life. There is no normal. There is no like Zen heaven. If only I could drink this much, everything would be perfect in my life. It doesn't exist. Alcohol changes your brain. It changes the neurochemical composition of the hormones in your brain. Everybody who drinks experiences it. There is no like caveat. If only I could drink this much, it wouldn't happen to me. Nope, alcohol is still a drug that works on your brain that way. Alcohol reduces your REM sleep. One glass of wine reduces your REM sleep from 5 to 6 cycles a night to 1 cycle a night. So even that person that's only having one glass of wine, that normal person supposedly, is still ruining their sleep. There is no normal when it comes to alcohol. It's kind of like cigarettes. Like, yeah, you could smoke a pack a day or you could still smoke one cigarette a day. You're still inhaling toxins and poisons. And nowadays we don't have these weird ideas about moderating with cigarettes. We just cut them out completely because it doesn't exist. There is no like, oh, I'll just have a little bit of poison. I'll just inhale a little bit of toxins. Like it doesn't work that way, right? Because the cigarette's still affecting you and it's still giving those negative health consequences. And the same thing is true with alcohol. In the moment, because it's reducing your REM sleep cycles, it's completely changing the neurochemistry of your brain and unleashing all these stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline in your brain. And then over time, it is having adverse health effects. They say that one drink lowers your life expectancy between, I think, 20 to 30 minutes, right? So this stuff builds and adds up over time. So there is no normal. There is no Zen heaven. If only I could drink this way, everything would be great. That doesn't exist. I work with people who only drink one drink a day and they're still unhappy with the way alcohol shows up in their life. So saying all that, how can you change this idea of wish I was normal into like really feeling proud of yourself for actually being super introspective, so wise, so brave to actually change this habit in your life? Start to change the perspective of what it means to be a drinker versus a non-drinker. In my mind, a non-drinker achieves their goals. A non-drinker goes after their dreams. A non-drinker has nothing standing in their way of their health goals. A non-drinker wakes up early in the morning. A non-drinker gets a beautiful morning routine and has slow cups of coffee and writes gratitude journals and does all this stuff. A non-drinker launches businesses. A non-drinker really goes after what they want in their life. A non-drinker doesn't care about fitting in the opinion of other people. A non-drinker will put their well-being first over a conditioned societal habit. A non-drinker will not listen to the constructs of this idea that you have to drink to be normal. A non-drinker is on a never-ending quest of personal growth. Tons of people out there that I admire so much are non-drinkers. Tony Robbins, Brene Brown, Gabrielle Bernstein, Glennon Melton Doyle, Dave Hollis. There's so many people out there that I admire that are not drinkers, or they drink so occasionally a few times a year that it's irrelevant. Those are what I think of as non-drinkers. When I think of drinking, I think of, no matter kind of who you are, I think of waking up sluggish in the morning. I think about caring about fitting in. I think about like going after immediate gratification all the time instead of long-term contentment. I think of feeling stuck because you're doing the same routine habit over and over again. It doesn't matter what your drinking habits look like. If you attach a different meaning to being a non-drinker versus a drinker, you're not going to start to feel not normal because you don't drink, or you're trying to take a break, or you're living alcohol free. You're going to start to feel like not normal in the best possible way. Like, yeah, what's normal? Average, mediocre, boring. That's what normal is. Why would you want to be any of those things? You are exceptional. You are so unique. You were given God-given talents and skills and perspective and experiences to hone a gift that only you can offer this world. Most people sleepwalk through life, but not you. Not you, not anymore. This is your awakening. This is your time to never go back to sleepwalking through life ever again. This is your time to literally put every single dream and desire you've ever put on the someday back burner and manifest it today. Because you are building within yourself new healthy coping mechanisms. You're learning to feel into your emotions and actually learn from them instead of just shoving them down with alcohol. You're learning how to challenge yourself to do something that 87% of the population won't do. You're getting more pride and confidence because of it. You're starting to smash all of these goals that not only change your identity in one way, it starts to leverage and change your identity in all kinds of ways. I never thought I could go without drinking, and when I did, I started to challenge all the other stuff I didn't think I could do. I didn't think I could be an entrepreneur. I didn't think I could be live on video like this, talking to people. I never thought I could, make money as an entrepreneur, launch a business, have a podcast, be so public with my life. I never thought I could write a book. I never thought I could run very long distances. There was a host of things that I didn't believe were possible for me because I was living in such a stuck, small place with a habit that was not making me happy. And when I smashed that limiting belief that I needed alcohol to be happy, I smashed all the other beliefs. And today, I'm always a work in progress. I'm always still going on the journey. I haven't reached some zenith outcome, but I am working and achieving some of my biggest life goals and life dreams. And it's only because I stopped to reevaluate the role of alcohol in my life. I stopped worrying about being normal, and I started worrying instead about how I can take this one and only life that I'll ever have and make it truly exceptional, truly design a life I love so much I don't need to escape from it. To peel back the onion and look at all the reasons why I was drinking in the first place, why I was outsourcing my confidence and sociability and fun to alcohol, and why I wasn't finding those things within. It's actually a very, very challenging yet enlightening exercise to ask myself and yourself, what organically makes me happy? Not a chemical cocktail elixir that gives you artificial spikes of dopamine in your brain, just like cocaine does. What organically makes you happy? Find that, discover that, pull back the onion, pull back the layers, find the things that give you joy in your life and chase new experiences and new ideas and new sense of creativity and new senses of messages from your intuition about what you're supposed to do on this planet and how you can extrapolate the most fulfillment and meaning after it. Because trust me, it's not found in a glass. And there is no such thing as normal drinking. There is no such thing. And this desire to be normal and to fit in, all it's doing is it's quelling your uniqueness. It's quelling the very unique gift that you have, that you were meant to demonstrate on this planet and offer to other people. You were meant to be exceptional. You were meant to be extraordinary. You were never meant to be normal. And you were never meant to fit in and drink a chemical cocktail elixir that changes the neurochemistry of your brain I mean, like, if you really think about it super objectively, it's almost like Brave New World, right? Like, this lie we've been fed is a Brave New World lie, that we take some kind of substance or drug to make us feel happy. It's all fake. It doesn't work out that way. You're not finding your true fulfillment and meaning in the moment. So you are the bravest, most intuitive people I know, because you're stepping out of that matrix. You're stepping out of that false paradigm of a brave new world and finding what organically gives you joy, happiness, and meaning in this lifetime. And so don't go on wishing you were normal. Don't go on wishing and hoping that if only, blah, 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 blah. This is your awakening to live the most passionate, purposeful, meaningful life you could possibly create for yourself. This is your opportunity to have struggled with alcohol to now redesign everything in your life. This is your opportunity to discover what gives you organic joy and to share and express your gifts that only you have. This is your opportunity. And I'm so, so grateful that you're here and that you're challenging yourself to start thinking this way and remove the thoughts and beliefs that don't serve you and adopt the ones that make you thrive and shine. You are so brave. You fill me with awe and inspiration every single day, and I'm so grateful for you. So go on being exceptional and extraordinary, and let's leave normal behind for the sheep. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have an incredible, incredible Thanksgiving. I wish you the most love, happiness, joy, meaning, purpose. And I believe that with the challenging of the thoughts that we are all called upon to do, every single one of us, and this is a lifelong skill that we all have to practice, if we challenge the autopilot thoughts, the negative thoughts, and start really changing our perspectives and how we react to the world, we can find just joy, empowerment, inspiration, motivation, love, fulfillment in the here and now. And you have that within yourself. You always have. And it just takes some tools to extrapolate it. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you so much. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a blessed holiday. And I'll see you next Wednesday, 8 a.m. for the next live.